Hare Krishna. Would it be possible to give me access to share my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. We do that.
So I just wanted to take Bhagavatam verse as a reference to what I'm going to speak. Actually, what inspired me to speak this topic was actually a devotee came up to me and he said, long back, a devotee came up to me and said, Prabhu, I really like chanting because it is very mystical. It is, yeah, I feel very nice when I'm chanting. It's very peaceful and I feel I'm on another realm, like that he was saying. So, of course, when I heard this, it was good that he likes to do chanting. But later on, after a couple of months, he said that Prabhu, actually, nowadays I'm not getting any taste in chanting. Because I'm not getting any taste in chanting, so I want to give up chanting completely. But I reminded him about the mystical, magical experiences he had had before. But he said, Prabhu, I'm not feeling it now. So therefore, I thought that it is so important to understand what is the essence of our practice and how to be an essence seeker in our own lives so that we can actually proceed ahead in on the path of Krishna consciousness while tackling distractions. So those people who come sentimentally sometimes go sentimentally. If they come sentimentally and hold on to the essence, then they stick on. But they come sentimentally, if they don't get the essence, they're just beating around the bush. So often at times it so happens that they leave sentiment out of a sentiment. So let me just show you a verse. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto 14th chapter 26th verse. And in this, a secret is revealed on how to go on in Krishna consciousness with great steadfastness. Maybe one of you can repeat after me. Yatha yathatma parimrjyate sau.
Yatha yatatma parimrejyate so.
Mat punyagata shravanadi vidhanaihi.
Mat punyagata shravana bidhanahi.
Tatha tata pashyati vastu sukshmam.
Tatha tata pashyati vastu sukshmam.
Chakshuryate vanjana samprayuktam.
Chakshuryate vajna samprayuktam.
Yeah, Prabhu, can you read the translation?
Sure, Prabhu. When a diseased eye is treated with medicinal ointment, it gradually recovers its power to see. Similarly, as a conscious living entity cleanses himself of material contamination by hearing and chanting the pious narrations of my glories, he regains his ability to see me, the absolute truth, in my subtle spiritual form.
Yeah, thank you. So what is most important here? You can see yatha yatha tata tata. That means as in how much you practice, that much you get result. It's like directly proportional. So yata yata parimajite so mat punyagata shavana bidhanaihi means to the degree we absorb ourselves in hearing the glories of Krishna and discussing with other devotees, tatha tatha pashyati vastu sukshmam. To that degree, our vision becomes more and more subtler. So before we understand this verse, I'll just share some examples to give us some context. Once a man approached a construction site and he went on to meet a first person who was one of the constructors, and he asked him, what are you doing here? So the constructor replied, I don't even know what I'm doing. I think I'm just building something here. I'm just assembling the bricks together. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's the goal of this. Probably I'll just get some salary at the end of the month and I'm happy. So the man went on to meet another sculptor and another construction worker. And he asked, "What are you doing here?" And this construction worker had a better idea of what he's doing. And he said that actually I'm building a wall for this particular building. So currently, what I'm doing is I'm building a wall. So his idea of what he's doing is better than that of the first person whom this man met. And the man went on because he was not satisfied. He wanted a better answer. Then he went on to the third construction worker and he asked, "What are you doing here?" And the construction worker said, "I'm actually building a wall for a temple which is going to come up soon." So his vision was complete because he knew what he's doing. And therefore, his endeavor had a purpose. So, what this goes on to show is as we are actually practicing Krishna consciousness, our vision itself are of various levels depending on one's consciousness. So we'll understand with more examples. For example, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll find the sages of Naimisharanya. They're coming together to perform a yajna, right? So now when they want to perform a yajna, they approach Suta Goswami, who is going to be the Bhagavatam speaker. So when they approach Suta Goswami, immediately they actually tell him, "My dear Suta Goswami, you are very well learned. You have acquired the blessings of all the teachers. But prayenalpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge janaha mandhas mandamatayo mandabhagya hyupadrutaha." The sages of Naimisharanya tell Suta Goswami, "My dear Suta Goswami, though you're well learned and you have gathered a lot of blessings, please make sure that when you speak the Vedic knowledge to us, just stick to the essence." Why? Because Kali Yuga is approaching now. It's about to start. In Kali Yuga, Prayan Alpayusha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha means they're short-lived. They are not very smart as compared to residents of the other yugas. Or even if they're smart, they're not very fortunate. And even if they're fortunate, their mind's always disturbed by so many distractions. So therefore, please stick to the essence. And therefore, Suta Goswami goes on to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, you will find in there various many more examples. When we see Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find that in 12th canto, for how to be delivered in the age of Kali is mentioned. Kale doshanide rajan asti he mahan gunan. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramajit. So it says that in this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. That means everyone is so faulty. But there's one good quality, and that is Kirtanadeva Krishnasya. If someone is actually chanting Hare Krishna and someone is practicing devotional service, that in itself is very glorious. So don't look at the faults, look at the essence. Similarly, Adi Shankaracharya in his Gita Mahatmya, he writes, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. If at all if you have no time, and if you have only little time, read only one Shastra, that is Devaki Putra Gita. That is Bhagavad Gita. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, Eko Devo Devaki Putreva. That means if you have time only to worship one God, whom should you worship? Devaki Putra, that is Krishna. Then he says, if you have time to worship, chant only one mantra, chant Hare Krishna mantra. Mantra that contains the names of Krishna. And if you have time to do only one work for Krishna. Like that he says, Adi Shankaracharya in his Gita Mahatmya. Why? Because he's drawing the attention of the people to the essence. Similarly, when Sri Prabhupada actually traveled from India to the West, we find how Sri Prabhupada was, he was actually, when he wanted help, his support or his supporters were mainly the hippies. Hippies means they would actually break all the regular principles. They would drink, do intoxication of all sorts. They would, have illicit sexual affairs with no bounds, basically. They were living like animals. So one day it so happened a person came, he barged into the matchless gift storefront when Prabhupada was lecturing. Immediately he went to the bathroom and he had a toilet paper. He immediately put, because the toilet paper had got over. So he put the toilet paper and went away. And Prabhupada pointed out, see, even he wants to serve immediately. So because Sri Prabhupada had this, because Sri Prabhupada was a Saragrahi, because he was able to seek the essence and see the essence in all the living beings, he could see though these hippies externally seem that they're not qualified, but internally they're part and parcel of Krishna. All living entities, they have the capacity to be Krishna conscious. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabo Nai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karaya Udai. Chaitamrit says that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabo Nai. Krishna Prema is not awakened by our sadhana. That means it's not by hard effort, you don't take it from outside. Actually, Krishna Prema is already within. You only have to awaken it. How? By constant hearing and chanting of the holy name and the holy name and the holy fame of Krishna. So in this way, you find Sri Prabhupada was an essence seeker. And also you'll find 500 years ago, as today is the appearance day of Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit was once asked by Mukunda Dutt, that Mukunda Dutt told Gadadhar Pandit that please accompany me because I'm going to take you to see a wonderful exalted Vaishnava. So Gadadhar Pandit, of course, he was a very innocent, gentle-minded and gentle in behavior and brahmachari. So he said, of course, thank you Mukunda Dutt. This is a wonderful opportunity to meet a Vaishnava. And when Mukunda Dutt took Gadadhar Pandit to the palace of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and when Gadadhar Pandit saw Pundarik Vidyanidhi dressed in royal clothing, chewing betel leaf, chewing pan, and his whole body was aromatic due to fragrant oils, and also his hair was very nicely oiled and combed, and he was constantly looking at himself in a mirror, and he appeared exactly like a materialistic man. Immediately in his mind, he didn't speak it out, but Gadadhar Pandit just thought in his mind, why has Mukunda Dutt brought me to this materialistic man? And Mukunda Dutt could immediately understand the expression, as Prabhupada says, face the index of the mind. So he could see Gadadhar Pandit that he was not very happy upon seeing Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So immediately, Mukunda Dutt actually spelt out a verse which describes the mercy and the beauty of Krishna. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigam sayapaya apya sadhvi lebhe gatim dhatruchitam tadonyam kam vadayalum sharanam rajema. That is one which describes how merciful Krishna is, that Putna came to kill Krishna by poisoning Krishna, but actually Krishna delivered her to the spiritual world and gave her the position of a mother in the spiritual world. And he also recited the verse which describes the beauty of Krishna. Barha pidam natavaravapu karnayo karnikaram bibradvashah kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam randran venor adara sudhya purayan gopa vrindair vrindaranyam. So basically in this verse he says how Krishna, when he is walking off to the forest, the gopis are describing Krishna's beauty, how he's wearing a peacock feather and how he is wearing a Vaijayanti mala. He's adorned with yellow garments, and through his flute he is sharing the nectar of his lips, and all the living entities, as they hear the soothing music from his flute, all their hearts and minds get enchanted. So as Krishna proceeds to forest, gopis are describing his beauty. So upon hearing these two verses, Gadadhar Pandit saw to his own eyes, with his own eyes, that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, immediately his body started changing colors. There were transformations because of exhibiting the 8 symptoms of ecstasy. Hair standing on end, the profuse tears from his eyes, immediately started rolling on the ground, crying for Krishna. So when he saw this, immediately Gadadhar Pandit felt ashamed. Why? Because Gadadhar Pandit felt that I actually offended this great Vaishnava in my mind. And later on, therefore, Gadadhar Pandit, as a method of atonement, he actually approaches Pundarik Vidyanidhi and accepts him as Guru. Therefore, in Nectar of Instruction, you will find Sri Rupa Goswami says, Fena Buddha Fena Pankhay, like that he says. Now, sometimes a pure devotee externally, one cannot make out that he's a pure devotee, isn't it? Just like he says, the Ganges water, sometimes on the top, there's a foam of mud and dirt. Sometimes we also, when we travel to Mayapur, some people actually give us Ganges water. So we are also sometimes afraid to drink because it looks very dirty. But actually that dirt doesn't affect the purity of the Ganges water. Similarly, sometimes when we look at devotees, we may feel, this devotee may be neophyte, he doesn't know how to behave. This devotee is, we can calculate all the different faults of a devotee. But we understand, because one is practicing devotional service, what is the essence? The essence is one is practicing devotional service. Amongst all the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, the topmost Vaishnava quality which we all have to look for is Krishna Krishnam. If a devotee is surrendered to Krishna, he may not be surrendered to us, but if he is surrendered to Krishna, that is sufficient. Then one has to actually offer obeisances to such a person. So therefore, here, through this pastime of Gadadhar Pandit with Pundarik Vidyanidhi, we find that actually we have to look for the essence. So we discussed multiple examples about essence, looking for the essence. So why should we look for the essence? Maybe if I can ask all of you. We discussed that it is very important that we have to look for essence. For example, when Krishna gives different yoga paths to Arjuna, yoga systems. But finally, Arjuna just tell me one thing to do. And Krishna says, Sarvadharman Paritijya. And that's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? So why should we be essence seeker? Would anyone like to answer? You can try. There are multiple right answers.
Maybe one thing, Prabhu, is because, like you mentioned, we don't have so much time. So if we
we
understand,
don't have correct.
yes.
Yeah, very true. Actually, we don't have time, isn't it? That means our resources are highly limited. So our time, energy, everything is very less. So in that case, if we actually don't look out for the essence, then we can actually miss out on the goal of life. For example, for students who are studying in a college, what is the essence of the semester? The essence is you have to pass the end semester exams. You have to qualify. But if a student actually studies while doing his studies in the semester, he actually participates in debate society, in road track club, in some cooking club, in many other activities, but fails his end semester exams. And he may be an expert in those activities, but the essence is lost, isn't it? So therefore, we don't say students don't have to go for any clubs. You are free and you can go and participate in as many clubs as you want, but make sure you pass the end semester exams, isn't it? That's the most important thing. Similarly, our human form of life is also very rare. Dullabham manasham janma, it is said. So because it's very rare, we have got, actually in one of the scriptures, it is mentioned how rare is the human form of life. Just imagine Pacific Ocean or an Atlantic Ocean. And now in this entire Atlantic Ocean, there's just one piece of log of wood with one hole in it. And in this entire Atlantic Ocean, there's one turtle deep within the ocean. Now, when the turtle comes up, say it is rising to the surface of the ocean, and the log is also moving on the surface of the ocean, what is the probability that the head of the turtle sticks out through the hole in the log? Almost zero, isn't it? It's like 0.000. It's very minute possibility. And it is said this is the possibility of, this is how rare it is to get a human form of life. So what is the essence of human form of life? Therefore, in third canto, I think it comes, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janmalabha Parapumsa Ante Narayana Smritihi. That means we can do whatever you want, do it, no problem. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam means you want to analyze different parts, no problem. You're free to do. It's wonderful. Swadharma Parinishthaya, one can say, Prabhu, this is my characteristic, this is my tendency, I like to do this, I like music, or I like to just study a lot of books. No problem. Swadharma Parinishthaya. Become an expert in that. Janmalabha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Smriti. Whatever you do, ultimately think about the time of death. At the time of death, we should be able to remember Krishna. So through our activities, our endeavors, our investment in many aspects of life, if we are not able to ultimately think of Krishna, then the essence of life is lost. Therefore, when Parikshit asks Shukadeva Goswami about the two questions, what is that which benefits all people in general, and what is that which is most beneficial for a person who is about to die? There are two questions asked by Parikshit to Shukadeva Goswami. I hope the various Bhagavatam examples is relatable, because I'm not very well aware of how many of you are new and how many of you are seasoned. I see many initiated names, so therefore I'm giving a lot of Bhagavatam examples. I hope that is okay. Okay, so when Shukadeva Goswami began to answer, you'll find in second canto, first chapter, how does he answer? He answers by actually condemning those people who waste their lives by not giving oral reception to Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, Shrotavyadini Rajendra. He says that for people, materialistic people, there are thousands and thousands of subject matters for them to hear. This news channel, that news channel, there's politics, there's economics, there is, there's movies, there is cartoons, so many things. But it's all simply waste of time. Similarly, a materialistic man, he sometimes in the daytime, he only endeavors, he wastes all his time with one goal of gaining more money, or simply working hard to satisfy his relatives. And at night time by simply sleeping. Isn't it? Like that, Shukadeva Goswami becomes very hard. And finally, he comes to a verse. Let me show you. Yeah. You can see here. Okay. So here he's saying Shotavyadini Rajendra Ninam Santi Sahasrasha Apashyatam. That means they're not able to see Atma Tattvam Greshu Grihamedinam. That means they have thousands, and Sahasrasha means the hundreds and thousands. So many things to worry about, but they have no time to worry about Krishna. Just like Shankaracharya says in Bhajagovindam. Balastavat Krida Sakta Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta Vriddhastavat Chintana Sakta Parame Brahmani Kopina Sakta Parame Brahmani Kopina Sakta Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. He says, just as one is a small child, his worry is about toys. For him, there's nothing that exists in this world but toys. You take a toy away from a child, he will cry over it. Sometimes he's ready to reject food. He tells mother, I don't want you anymore, but I want that toy. Isn't it? Very foolish. But balastavat krida sakta. In this way, the childhood is lost in toys. Similarly, as a small boy becomes to age, teenage, at that time, can he take to Krishna consciousness? He can, but he is diverted by tarunastavat taruni sakta. That means his now his toy has changed from balloon and action figures. It has become opposite sex, isn't it? And this way, the teenage is lost in such frivolous activities. And later on, maybe after he becomes old, he takes to Krishna consciousness. Shankaracharya says no. After he becomes old, his next problem is now he's worrying about all the properties he has gathered throughout his life. He's worrying about his sons and grandchildren and family members and status in society. So many things to worry about. And Parame Brahmani Kopina Sakta. Finally, there is no, he failed to actually worry about anything about Parabrahman, the Supreme Person of God throughout his life. So in this way, thousands and thousands of subject matters exist for a person who is materialistic. Therefore, apashyatam atma tattvam. See, I want all of you to focus on the word pashyatam. Pashyatam means vision. In the verse which we took as reference today, from 11th canto, it was saying, tata tata pashyati vastu sukshmam. For one who is spiritually engaged in Krishna consciousness, for such a person, his vision is developing. Not the external vision. But we'll come to that. How is his vision developing? But for a materialistic man, apashyatam, it is written. He is not able to see. He's actually blind. Nidraya hriyate naktam vyavayena chavavayaha divachate hayarajan kutumbha bharanenava. So a materialistic man at night, what does he do? Sleep. His his nighttime is lost by sleep or affairs with the opposite sex. And similarly in the daytime, his energy is gone in earning money or working too hard to maintain family. Kutumba bharanenava. Yeah. So this is an important verse. Can one of you repeat after me? Deha patya kalatradishu.
Dehapatyakalatradishu.
Atma saineshva satsapi.
Atmasainyeshvasasvi api.
Tesham pramatto nidhanam.
Tesham pramato nidanam.
Pashyan api na pashyati.
Pashanapi na pashyati.
Yeah. This verse is very strong. Shukadeva Goswami, with a great internal conviction, is saying, how foolish are the materialistic people that Deha Patyakalatra Atma Sainyeshu Asatsapi. That means they're considering that my friends, my family, my colleagues in the office, and my owner, my tenant, all these are the people who will actually protect me. But they're all asatsapi. That means they are not actually the protectors. Tesham pramatto nidhanam. This way he actually acts mad. He becomes crazy thinking that these people will protect me, but actually he doesn't see the truth. Pashyan apina pashyati means he is thinking that I am able to see everything, but actually he's not seeing. This is materialistic person. So therefore we understand one thing, that the vision of a materialistic man versus a spiritualist, it is different. Prabhupada gives this example. Same object. For example, say a young, beautiful girl who is in her early 20s. If she comes as the object, for a sage, she is the embodiment of Maya. For the tiger, she's his lunch. It's lunch, isn't it? For a man, a prospective wife. For a boy, he looks at her like a mother, isn't it? Similarly, in you will find in Krishna book or in 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, when Krishna and Balram they enter the arena, all the different people, they view Krishna Balram differently. Some people saw Krishna Balram as the best of men. Some people thought the mothers saw Krishna Balram as the innocent children who are, with great injustice, they've been brought to this arena and they'll be killed by Chanu and Mustik. The Yadus, they felt they are the greatest of heroes. Party on the Kamsa side, they felt these are my enemies. Same object, multiple vision. So how is it possible? Would someone like to say? How can same object be viewed in a different vision? How is it possible? There's some defect, isn't it? How can object is same, but different people are seeing it differently? On what basis?
Imperfect
They all have
sense.
Yeah. Yes.
They all have a different interests.
Different
Imperfect
interests. Very
senses.
good. Okay, imperfect. Who's the imperfect? Okay, there's someone.
Yeah, this is Madhavi Sita.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Madhvi Sita Matri, it's because
Madhavi Sita Devi Dasi.
okay, Hare Krishna. And Ashish said, I think it was Ashish who said it is because of different interests. Okay. Actually, yeah, it is because of different interests. And why different interest?
According to modes of material nature.
Very good. According to different modes of material nature. Very nice. So therefore, our modes of the three modes of material nature arrange themselves, which forms different levels of consciousness. This is understandable? So how many levels of consciousness are there? It's more than 3. Because the modes intermix and
4.
it's much more than 4.
Then I guess so many millions then.
Okay, let me give you a hint. How many species of life are there according to Padma Purana?
8.4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8.4 million species. Why 8.4 million species? And out of that, 400,000 are just human forms of life. Isn't it? That means there are 8.4 million levels of consciousness. Is this understandable? How do you get 8.4 million? By the intertwining of the 3 modes. Starts with 3 modes. But then you have, in goodness, you have goodness, passion, goodness, ignorance. And in goodness, you have goodness, passion, like that. You have 8.4 million levels of consciousness, isn't it? And therefore, what Ashish said, different interests. Sometimes the interests depend on what consciousness we have, isn't it? Kamsa saw Krishna as death personified. Yashoda is seeing Krishna as my darling, isn't it? Or because the consciousness is changing. Similarly, if depending on where our consciousness, we have, like you said, different interests. For example, once I called some students and I gave them the same magazine, say a Times magazine or something, and they all went through it quickly. And I asked them, what did you see in the magazine? One boy said, I saw the sports section. And other boy said, I saw the fashion section. Another boy said, I actually saw the financial condition, the economic status of the US, that section. So I asked them, how is it that all of you got different things? Because the first boy who said sports, he said, because I like sports. And no doubt, the second boy actually liked fashion. And the third boy liked economics. So actually, we only catch what we want to see. It's called a selective vision. We don't see anything beyond that sometimes, isn't it? So therefore, you find there are 2 types of vision: materialistic vision and spiritual vision. Materialistic vision, to easily understand, is like Ravana's vision. What is Ravana's vision? What's in it for me? WIIFM. This is the radio station for Ravana. Wherever he goes, by whatever he sees, he's only thinking one thing: what's in it for me, or how can I enjoy here? On the contrary, you find Hanuman. Hanuman, who is going to different places, wherever he goes, he only sees one thing: how can I serve in this situation? Two different vision: materialistic vision, spiritual vision. Which one matters? Spiritual matters. One sannyasi, when he was giving a class in Mayapur, he gave a class, and one brahmachari wanted to ask a question, and he said, Maharaj, you spoke very wonderfully on this such and such topic, but if you think materially, immediately was stopped by the sannyasi, and he said, what is the sannyasi strongly says, spoke in the mic, he said, what is the use of your materialistic vision? And I found it is true. What is the use? There is no use of the materialistic vision, because it is the same object, different visions are there. Why should we take into account materialistic vision? We should take into account spiritual vision. That spiritual vision is rooted in Shastra. So, therefore, why should we become essence seekers? Because we want to be able to prioritize better in our life. Now we understood Ante Narayana Smriti is essence. Now, if we hold on to that essence, then we can actually, there will be distractions in life. No one can say there won't be any distraction, or I can avoid distractions per se. It's impossible. But holding on to that essence, we can actually tackle the distraction. That means an essence seeker, isn't it? Hold on to the essence and tackle distraction. Therefore, for that, what is most important for us as a practical application? What should we do in our life to become essence seekers? Our depth of Vedic study should be there. We should be studying Prabhupada books regularly. Very important, because intelligence is purified by study of books, by wisdom. And we all should develop liking for wisdom, and go into a deep study of Sri Prabhupada's books, so that we can understand what is the essence. So intelligence is very sharp. Immediately it knows, if I go here, I'll be deviated from Krishna consciousness. So not required, isn't it? So in that way, we can actually hold on to the essence. And as Krishna tells Arjuna in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he gives 3 terms of people who are faithless: Agnya, Ashraddhana, and Samshayatma. Agnya means he doesn't have knowledge of the scriptures and therefore no faith. Ashraddhana means he has knowledge of the scriptures but has no faith in that knowledge. And Samshayatma means he has knowledge of the scriptures and he has faith in the scriptures, but he doesn't feel that this will work out for me. Some people say, chanting is not for me. Even if I chant Hare Krishna, I am so fallen, no one can help me. Like that they think. So he's Samshayatma. So actually, with our right study of Prabhupada books and hearing from great souls, we should actually develop deep faith in the Shastras, so that we are rooted to what is the essence. And Krishna gives the essence. Vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo. Of all knowledge, essence is to know me. So therefore, we actually can become essence seekers by going deep into Shastric study and understanding it's only in depth that there is the real jewel. On, like His Holiness Gaura Govind Maharaj says, on the surface of the ocean, or if you go a little deep into ocean, you only get fishes. Dive completely deep into the ocean, you get pearls, isn't it? So therefore, materialistic people say, what is then chanting Hare Krishna? What is, why should we practice Krishna consciousness? You only live once, just do it, just enjoy life, eat, drink, and be merry. But it is they are pashyan apina pashyati. They are seeing, but they're not able to see the temporary nature. Whereas devotee, same thing, he's able to see a much deeper level, because he's practicing Krishna consciousness very in a refined manner, proper sadhana, proper attentive chanting of Hare Krishna. So what happens is tata tata pashyati vastu sukshmam. His vision is becoming deeper. he is able to see what the materialists are not able to see. Materialists are only able to see fishes on, on the surface of the ocean. But a devotee is able to see the pearls, isn't it? So since it's already time, I'll stop here, and maybe Ramchand Prabhu or Madhav Prabhu can guide if we can take questions, or if someone wants to offer any corrections or comments, anything.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. I really, and I'm sure I can say the same for everyone else. We all got a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding more about this topic from you. Thank you so much for shedding light. So Prabhuji, yeah, we can do question and answers for sure. Is it fine with your permission? I can just make a few announcements for the week.
Sure.
Why? Yeah, and so thank you. So in the meantime, devotees, you can all get your questions ready. In the meantime, I'll quickly share my screen, make some announcements. So for those of you who are joining first time, welcome. This is our webpage of our center that we run in Bergen County, New Jersey. Some upcoming programs, as you can see, we have our Wednesday Sangha speakers updated every week. This today is His Grace. It was His Grace Arjunananda Prabhu. And on Sunday, on Bhagavad Gita 9.26, we have Anuj Sharma Prabhu speaking for Sunday Feast lecture. And one very important upcoming program we have, one of the main teachers for this course that is there, Journey of Self-Discovery course. One of the teachers is His Grace Nimai Karuna Prabhu. This course is very much recommended and highly appreciated, especially for those of you who are very new to Krishna consciousness, and those of you who want to learn more about Krishna consciousness, understand the foundation, the basics of Krishna consciousness. This course is it will be very beneficial for you. You will get more clarity, more understanding of Bhakti Yoga and our process of Krishna consciousness. This process, this course starts on Sunday, April 23rd. And it will be a 7-session course. So this Sunday is the first Sunday, and it is free of registration. So feel free, if you're interested, to please contact us. We'll sign you up for this course for those of you who are interested. And there's other programs. We have our weekly Bhakti Riksha programs every Friday. If you're not plugged into one of our Bhakti Riksha programs, please feel free to contact us, and we will guide you to join one of the programs. We also have our Bhagavad Gita readings, which happen Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 12:15 p.m. EST. And we have 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. morning japa call. Chanting during the morning time is the best time for rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. So chanting Hare Krishna at this time is the best time. So for those of you who are available, please feel free to join. And over here, you can see we have our highlights and recordings of other Sunday Feast lectures and Wednesday Sangha lectures. So at this point now, I will request any devotees who have questions to please either raise their hand, or you can directly text me the message in the chat. I will read it out for you. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, we have one question in the chat box. Is the essence to get the please of devotees of Krishna or Krishna? Is the essence to please? Is the essence to please Krishna or Krishna's devotees? Which one is of more importance? That's the question.
Thank you. Actually, Lord Shiva, when he's speaking to Parvati, he says, Aradhananam Sarvesham, Vishnu Aradhanam Param. Of all types of worship of Lord Vishnu is the best. But Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. That means, but still there's a better worship, that is worship of his devotees. So if someone is doing, offering arti to the deities, on the altar, but when he comes off the altar, he's offending devotees. I heard from his spiritual master that such an arti is not actually accepted by the deities. So most importantly, we have to know that we have to see. Therefore, tata tata vastu pashyate vastu sukshma means we don't see devotees as just another human being. We see them as tadiyanam. Tadiyanam means a paraphernalia of the Lordship. That means they are present to please the deities. So one easy tip how to maintain or how to keep pleasure of devotees in the center, or how to make sure that we are always geared towards pleasing devotees, is we should always see the relationship of devotees with Krishna. Sometimes we see devotees in relation to us. So whenever we see devotees in relation to us, we remember sometimes some old conflict. So don't see devotees in relation to us. See devotees in relation to Krishna. How much he's doing for Krishna. That's the easiest way, isn't it? So pleasure keeping, the essence is actually even more than pleasing Krishna is pleasing his devotees.
Thank you so much. Any other devotees have any questions? Okay, we have another question. If the essence is to remember Krishna at the last moment of our life or develop love for Krishna, does it matter which path one follows?
Well, it's a tricky thing. It's not that we can take up to, for example, first of all, point number one, we cannot take up to any wrong path, because, for example, just as Kamsa was inimical with Krishna, so he was remembering Krishna all the time, but Sri Prabhupada writes he was not remembering Krishna favorably, so it is not bhakti, isn't it? So we cannot become inimical to Krishna. Point number one. Point number two, amongst all the other yoga paths, if someone says, okay, Prabhu, instead of bhakti yoga, let me practice jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, but we find in Srimad Bhagavatam that this age we are so busy, and we are also our lifespan is so short. At the same time, we are not given the culture since our birth sometimes. So taking into account all these factors, the sages of Naimisharanya, they've already asked Sutta Goswami, just give us the essence, isn't it? So therefore, Sutta Goswami gives the path of Bhakti Yoga, and that is what is propounded by Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaita vatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatram unmulanam. Dharma projita kaita vatra paramo means it is actually giving the path, that dharma which is the topmost dharma, and all the sub dharmas are kicked out. That means it's clearly presenting Bhakti Yoga as topmost, and therefore it's best if we accept Bhakti Yoga.
So just following up to that, so that means that the process of Bhakti Yoga, that can be achieved through any of the four sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas that we have mentioned.
Yes, it is achievable by any of the sampradayas, because it's already mentioned in the scriptures. I myself am from Madhva Sampradaya, so I can tell you why I chose ISKCON over Madhva Sampradaya, because in the traditional sampradayas, sometimes literatures are mostly in local languages. Like in Madhva, it's mostly Kannada and Sanskrit. Whereas Prabhupada has translated all these deep literatures, Vedic wisdom, into English. That is one thing. And second, there is not, how much the association is offered by ISKCON is not offered by any of the sampradayas. The amount of association offered by ISKCON, and amount of preaching activities and all this. So though one can attain perfection through any of the sampradayas, it's easy and practical for us to actually practice what Sri Prabhupada is giving us. And also there is a special, you can say, a gift, special item of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and that is Prema Pumarto Mahan. That means Krishna Prema on the platform of conjugal love is present in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, as compared to, which is not present in other Vaishnava Sampradayas. They don't come to Madhurya Ras at all.
Prabhuji, Isn't ISKCON also part of Madhva Sampradaya? This is another question, follow-up question.
Yeah, it is. But Lord Chaitanya actually took two principles from each of the sampradayas, from Madhva, from Sri Sampradaya, that's Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, from Vishnu Swami and Nimbarka Swami. Two from each. And therefore, though we are part of Madhva Sampradaya, we still get the mercy, because we are coming in that Sampradaya. But still, Lord Chaitanya has given more than what Sripad Madhvacharya has given. And all this is the plan of the Supreme Lord according to time, place, circumstance. Because when, and on the onset of Kali Yuga, they were Brahmanas utilizing the Vedas. So Vishnu came as Buddha, took them away from the Vedas. Then came Shankaracharya, because perfection is only through scriptural study. That means by following scriptures. So therefore, Shankaracharya brought people back by saying, hey, why are you leaving the Vedas? Vedas say your God. So he brought people back to the Vedas. And then came Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya and Vaishnava Acharyas, who defeated Shankaracharya's Mayavad and Buddhism, voidist theories. And so therefore, Madhvacharya's, according to time, place, circumstance, the purpose of his descent into this world was mainly to defeat Mayavad. So therefore, other aspects of Prema Pumartha Mahan is not so much as given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when all these things were settled, when Lord Chaitanya came, he could easily present the this philosophy of Achinta Beda Bed. So it's all you can understand to be under the divine will and arrangement of Krishna. So it is Madhva Sampradaya. But it is still Lord Chaitanya has given more.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, definitely. Prabhuji, one question I have is that, like how you mentioned, based on how much we practice, that's how much Krishna will reciprocate with us to the extent we reciprocate with him. But many times we see, devotees for many, many years, even first initiated devotees, second initiated devotees. I've practically, we're chanting, we're doing devotional service, but still we don't seem to get that taste back that we first experienced in our first few days. So, I mean, and it seems like everything is going nicely. Still, we're not really committing any offenses. Maybe we are, maybe that's the reason. But maybe just if you can shed some light on that, in your opinion, why is it so that, still it's very hard to get back that taste?
We can see it from different angles, from, based on scriptures itself. What I've heard from my seniors is, generally when we first time come and meet the devotees and we chant Hare Krishna, we're doing it very innocently without any offensive mentality towards holy name or not to the devotees. So therefore, we are chanting on Namabhas platform. Whereas as we proceed and we stay with the devotees, we get to know that they're also not so pure devotees, and we feel that I'm better than this devotee, or this devotee is not that good, and so like that we start committing offenses sometimes. So because of which, it's not Namabhas anymore. We have come down to Aprad, Namaprad, isn't it? So, and also we can, of course, but as we go on practicing Krishna consciousness, with, as Prabhupada mentions in the preface of NOI, that attitude in Krishna consciousness is what matters the most. So one can actually practice Krishna consciousness grudgingly, or he can practice loving devotional service. So grudging devotional service will not get him anything but some minute, peanuts of like few bhakti credits, that's all. Whereas loving devotional service can actually bestow upon one Krishna prema. Therefore, the attitude is most important. So, yeah. So attitude is most important. Other one I was going to say was how you will find how Narada the boy Narada, when his mother passed away, he starts traveling north. That time he gets vision of Krishna for some time and it is gone, is withdrawn. So that time he starts crying and Lord Vishnu speaks, and I just give you vision to increase your eagerness to attain me, but you are not yet pure. So purify your heart and then you'll come back to me. Similarly, sometimes Krishna gives us taste in Krishna consciousness, but that he just gives for some time, just to help us increase our eagerness to attain him. That's why. So these two aspects we can see from the scriptures.
Yes, bro. Thank you so much. Yes, that was a very nice point you made about Narad Muni many times. Krishna sometimes gives us a taste and then he takes it away, but that's only to increase our lobha, our desire to attain Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, Ramchandra Prabhu, please ask your question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you give some examples of loving devotional service where attitude you mentioned, a positive attitude, and what is a negative attitude in devotional service? Like very
Where,
practical
yeah.
examples.
Actually, in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila mentions to devotee devotional service in the three modes. So he says about devotional service in the mode of ignorance. We may be shocked to hear how can devotional service be in mode of ignorance. But based on the how we practice devotional service, there are three devotional service in three modes. And what is pure devotional service? He mentions everything from in 3.29.8 to 13, if I'm not wrong. So devotional service in mode of ignorance means, he says, abhisandhaya yo himsam dhambam matsaryam evava. And that means person who is practicing devotional service in the mode of ignorance, he actually sometimes creates violence to other living entities. That means he can be doing service. If someone asks, Prabhu, how are you doing today? He can say, get out of my way. Can't you see I'm busy doing service to Krishna? That's yo himsam. He has brought pain to the heart of the other devotee. Himsam, dhambam. One can think I'm the best devotee. Like once in one place in India, I had gone for book distribution. So we went to one family's home where there was a program to take prasadam. It was Ekadashi. So it was Ekadashi prasadam. So then the host, the lady of the house, she came and I was also serving prasadam, and she said, do you know, Prabhu, I did Nirjal fasting today. Whereas all these Prabhus, others are eating, but I did Nirjal. No one asked if you had done Nirjal or not. So sometimes dhambam, to show that I am better devotee. Dhambam. Matsarya means envy. If a devotee is doing better than us, or if when spiritual master comes, he actually showers his affection to one devotee and not to another. So the other devotee can feel envious of the other devotee. He's not happy that he got blessings of spiritual master. Rather, he's envious. And then sometimes he puts endeavors in the direction to show that this devotee is not a great devotee. That's Matsarya. Dhamba Matsarya Mevava. And so he says, therefore, a person who is practicing devotional service in the mode of ignorance is Pritak Bhava. He's separated from the interest of Krishna. Second, later on, his next verse he says about devotional service in the mode of passion. If I remember rightly, for passion, one is again practicing devotional service for name and fame. Like, of course, we see in India sometimes they do donation, but they want, like when Pune, one person donated a fan in a hall for the hall. So when this donor came, he said, I don't see the name on the fan. So the brahmacharis, they switched off the fan and they showed there is the name. So he said, okay, keep the fan like this, because if you switch it on, then the name will not be seen. Isn't it? So then what is the use of donating a fan? So it's for name and fame. Or sometimes we can, we cook some nice prasadam and we can go to all the devotees and ask, Prabhu, how was the prasadam today? If they say nice, then you can say, Prabhu, this is the item I prepared. It's a basically name and fame. Yasha Aishwaryam, it is said for mode of passion devotional service. And mode of goodness devotional service is something we can practice. We should be at least on this platform. That is Karma Nirharam Uddishya. That is devotional service in mode of goodness. That means our goal of practicing Krishna consciousness as of now is to extinguish fruitive mentality, to purify the heart, no more fruitive mentality. So that is a good platform to be, but still Kabla says that this is also Pritak Bhava, he says. Such a devotee is also separated from the interest of Krishna. Why? Even I was wondering why, because I thought it's good that we want our hearts to be purified. But sometimes in temple also we see that some devotees, they go to take rest early, 8 p.m. and they want to get up at 2 a.m. So we tell Prabhu 9 o'clock there's kitchen cleaning. They say no, nothing doing, Prabhu. This is my, I want to do my 32 round chanting and my sadhana and my space. And so therefore it is pratak bhava. So it's good to be on this platform, but there's also limits. We should not, by being strict in one sadhana, it should not make us turn away from service, because the goal of sadhana is to develop our service attitude. After that, Kapila says about pure devotional service, where he talks about Madguna Shruti Matrena. I'm forgetting the verse, where he's saying this devotional service is based upon simply trying to please me by hearing and chanting. The devotees are ecstatic to share Krishna with others. They want to discuss Krishna Katha. They want to hear more about Krishna. They want to give out Krishna to the new people. They want to do more services to Krishna. This is all completely pure devotion service, bereft of the characteristics which were mentioned in other modes of devotional service. Does this help, Prabhu?
Yes, very much.
Thank you. Prabhuji, if you have time for, I think we can make this a last question.
Sure.
So Prabhuji, the question is, what was the turning point in your career that you left your professional career and joined full-time in Krishna consciousness?
Okay. Thank you for asking this question. Actually, my inspiration since my college days has been His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. So we have heard a lot about his sacrifices, what all he had done. In those days, he would only sleep just a couple of hours at night, because he would write books and he would actually strategize for youth preaching and everything. So when I heard this, then my heart was conquered, and I only had one goal, that I just want to be of some use to this person. So therefore I left. But nonetheless, one can actually, as Brahma and Lord Chaitanya also says the same thing, one can actually stay in their own position and practice Krishna consciousness also. But this I felt to be the turning point, because I felt before that, though there were many facilities and everything in my life, nothing charmed me so much as to serving such a great soul like that.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's very nice to hear. Yeah, even all of us, Radheshyam Prabhu, has one way or the other has very much directly impacted our Krishna conscious life, has given us a lot of inspiration, especially us youth. But thank you so much. So if anybody has any other last questions, then we'll conclude for today if no one has any.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I have a question. Like in Bhagavad Gita, last chapter 18.55, it mentioned Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. So can you please give us some points with today's class?
Well, so Bhakti Mam Abhijanati means Krishna is telling Arjuna, it's only through bhakti that I can be known. So if we understand the bhakti to be the essence, and we just hold on to bhakti despite whatever obstacle. And what are those obstacles? Even sometimes they are clash amongst in our own association amongst devotees. We still stick together, because what is most important is bhakti to Krishna, isn't it? Or bhakti to Guru and Krishna, actually. So therefore, why? Because the essence is we want to know Krishna. So we cannot know Krishna by our endeavor. It's not possible. By our endeavor, we can do some service. By our endeavor, we can gain some scriptural knowledge. But the realizations and the realization of that Krishna is a person, even the realization that Krishna is a person, cannot be just some logical adjustment in the mind. Only when we practice bhakti, that will be revealed in the heart. Divya Gyan, Hriday Prakashit, because the spiritual knowledge is always revealed in the heart. It's not gained through reading of books. But still, we study Prabhupada's books and we render service under the guidance of our spiritual authorities. Why? Because we want to show Krishna, I'm really serious in my Krishna consciousness. So that is real bhakti. So we want to, as we mentioned about bhakti in 3 modes, we want to come to the pure devotional service platform where we are practicing bhakti just to please Krishna and his devotees. Then Krishna will give us that knowledge. Then just like that South Indian Brahmana who could pick up a Bhagavad Gita, but he was an illiterate. He could not read properly. But still he had tears in his eyes because as soon as he would pick up Bhagavad Gita, the picture of Krishna being the chariot driver of Arjuna, Bhakta Vatsala, that would actually come in his mind, and seeing that he would actually cry tears. So he is much more self-realized than any of us, and we may be scholars in the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, Bhaktya Mama Vijayanati. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.